Hi guys, Gary here again from Discover On. Today with another of my videos for you, and this video today is about giving you some unusual facts and information about British history. Not necessarily exclusively about London, as I've done a video about that, but about elsewhere in Britain, as there is an awful lot of other history to discover and some kind of amusing and interesting facts about that. So, the first fact for you, during the 1800s, the name Mary, a girl's Christian name, first name, was so popular that around that time, half the women in Britain had that name. That's interesting. The City of London sold the 1831 London Bridge in 1967 because it wasn't strong enough to support the increased traffic at that time. The bridge was bought by an American, Robert P. McCulloch, and relocated to Arizona in the USA. It took almost a year to take the bridge apart, ship it to Long Beach in California, and then transport it by land to Arizona. The assembly and reconstruction of the bridge took another 3 years to finish, and that's where it is to this day. The world's very first speeding ticket was given to somebody called Walter Arnold in Kent in England for going at 8 miles an hour in a 2 mile an hour speed limit zone. In February 1840, Queen Victoria, our queen at that time, received a 3 meter in diameter block of cheddar cheese as a wedding gift from cheesemakers in the English county of Somerset. Although what happened was she said she preferred a more mature cheese, so the disappointed cheesemakers took it back, and it was later broken up and fed to pigs instead. Shakespeare, Sir Walter Raleigh, and King Charles I all had pierced ears. I bet you didn't know that. Scotland is famous for whiskey, for its whiskey, an alcoholic drink of course, and outside Scotland it's known as Scotch whiskey. But what few people know is that whiskey was actually invented in China and was first distilled by monks in Ireland in the early 15th century before making its way to Scotland 100 years later. Talking of Scotland, the Neolithic settlement of Skara Brae on the Scottish island of Orkney is in fact the oldest building in Britain, and it dates from 3100 BC. Amazing. Did you know the raincoat was invented in 1824 in Scotland by Charles Mackintosh, a chemist born in Glasgow, and the raincoat is still known, certainly in the UK, as a Macintosh. People talk about a Macintosh, we know they're talking about a raincoat. You may have seen the movie Braveheart, Mel Gibson's classic Oscar-winning film about William Wallace. But did you know that it wasn't actually the freedom fighter's nickname? Braveheart was actually the nickname of Robert the Bruce, not William Wallace. So Mel, you got your facts wrong. Did you know the Scots actually invented the modern world? Well, neither did I. John Logie Baird created the world's first TV picture on the 2nd of October 1925, while fellow Scotsman Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone in Boston in the USA in February 1876. Another interesting fact about Scotland is the fact that millions of years ago it was actually completely separate from England and Wales. It was actually joined to the USA and Greenland. On to Wales now, which is part of Britain of course. Wales has its own language, I don't know if you know this, and it's believed to be about 4,000 years old. One of the oldest languages in Europe, in fact. If you go to Wales, you'll notice that road signs are written in English and in Welsh. And you're more likely to hear Welsh when you're out and about. Although Welsh speakers, of course, are still in the minority. It's only spoken at the moment by about 23% of the population. Up until 1850, this was at 90%. At the moment, there's an ambitious initiative in place to double the amount of Welsh speakers by the year 2050. There are also over 400 castles in Wales, which is said to be more than any other country in Europe. The first ones were built around the year 1000. Also, talking about Wales, did you know Marconi's first radio transmission on the 13th of May 1897 between 2 points in Wales was the world's first transmission across open sea, the open sea. Welshman Edwin Stevens designed the world's first wearable electronic hearing aid. Another Welshman, Price Jones from Newtown in Montgomeryshire, created the world's first mail order business. Did you know Mount Everest was named after a Welshman? Sir George Everest from Brecconshire. Anyway guys, there we go. Some interesting facts about Britain for you. See you next time. Cheers guys.